YouTube, just got back from a Bernie Sanders event, the July 29th event that we had in my small town. We had a huge turnout. I mean, it had to be way over 200 people there. It was big. Like, we weren't expecting that many people to show up, but it was big. Anyway, one of the biggest things that I heard people talk about there is that they want to know about strategy. They want to know, how do we get the word out there? How do we win? You know, how do we beat back the media? And that got the ball rolling up here, and I started coming up with a couple ideas. Now, like I said, not a political strategy, so take all of this with a grain of salt, okay? I'm a mechanical engineer, and I've also a musician. Like, I've played in bands before. I've put on events. Some of them were successful. Some of them weren't. I know what works and I know what doesn't. So I want to share some of these tricks with you today. Now, the first thing that we need to understand is that we have a major advantage that no other political campaign has. We have a very solid candidate with a really, really simple bread and butter message to pitch to people. So the first strategy that I want to talk about is talking to people. Go out there and talk to people. Now, who do you need to talk to? You need to start by talking with your family and friends, people who you love, people who care about you, people who you can make a mistake and they're not going to jump down your throat, for the most part. Those are the people who you start with. Those are the people who you build your confidence with, and then you can think about going out to talking to strangers. Okay? Before you can talk to these people, you need to know the policies. You need to know in your state when your caucus is going to be, so you can tell people to show up. You need to know the rules for that state. Some rules, you have to register as a Democrat before you're allowed to vote in the caucus. Some rules, they're open. You need to know for your state what you need to do. I'll post a link in this description of a great website where you just pull down the state that you have and it tells you what you need to do to get when to vote for Bernie and how to get him to win the primaries. Okay? So now, when you're talking to people, you have to tailor make the message to fit their needs. So what do I mean by that? If you're talking to somebody who's a new mom, right? Doesn't know about the financial system, is not that politically active, doesn't know about Wall Street or any of that stuff. You don't start by talking about, hey, do you agree with Bernie to, reinsert the Glass-Steagall Act? That don't mean anything to them. You start by talking about policies that matter to them. So if I was selling to this person, I'd say, hey, how much time off are you going to get after you have that kid? Oh, I'm only going to get 2 or 3 days. How do you like having more time? How do you like having a month? How do you like having paid maternity leave? There is one candidate arguing for that. Then you explain the policy. Do you have health insurance? How much do you pay a month for health insurance? How much are you going to pay for you and the kid? Does it cover doctor visits? Ask these questions. And then say, what if I told you that Bernie is pushing for universal health care, Medicare for all, that your child would be on and you would be on, and you would have coverage. You wouldn't have to be paying $400 a month. Could you use the $400 a month to do something else? This is how you sell the message to people. You break it down in a simple way and you sell to their needs. And we understand their needs better than any campaign ad, better than any focus group, better than any one of these posters out there. The second thing is use strategies that work. So what do I mean by this? Have you ever had a Jehovah's Witness, or not to disparage these people, please don't get offended, or, somebody knock on your door on a Sunday trying to sell you something? What's your immediate response to them? Do you listen to them or do you slam the door? 90% of the time, people are going to slam the door. Now, I'm not saying that knocking on doors won't work. But what I'm simply saying is, as probably a more effective strategy is to just limit your scope to people who you know. The third thing I want to talk about is event planning. Okay? Every single town, it doesn't matter where it is in America, has a unique feature, a unique charm, something about that town that makes it different from everywhere else. Right? In my town, for example, my town is a music town. So organize Bernie events, and this is what I'm going to suggest to my group, that we organize Bernie events where we have a band show up and open, have a band play, we go up there, we talk about Bernie when everybody's excited, feeling good, then we have a band close out the night. So that way you don't have people showing up while you're still setting up for the event, and people are just twiddling their thumbs wondering what the hell's going to go happen. Fourth thing, care about your image. I'm not the best example of that. As you can see, my hair looks like crap. My face, I kind of shaved it. But what I'm talking about is care about the image that you're portraying to people. Don't be confrontational. Don't argue with them. Don't be judgmental. If you don't know what to say, ask a question. Ask them what they think about stuff. Ask them what they think is wrong. This is how you also establish the needs. Don't be afraid to ask questions. So now, just to recap, because it's coming up to 10 minutes. Like I said, very first thing is know the message. Have information, know when your caucus is going to be, know what you need to do to get Bernie out there. Second thing, talk to your friends and family. Get out there and talk to people. Fourth thing, use strategies that will work. So don't just go knock on a random neighbor's house. That might get you into trouble. Start with the person right next door to you. Fourth thing, use the charm of your town to think of events that will work. If your town is a very family-oriented town, set up a barbecue. Talk to Bernie there. If your town is a town that has a culture where, people just tailgate all the time, set up a tailgating party. Talk about Bernie there. If your town is a big band town or music town like mine is, set up an event, have music there. Have a DJ open for the event, have a band play for the event, whatever. Use the resources that you have to your advantage. Oh, and the final point I wanted to talk about is content. And this is probably one of the most important things. The media likes to portray Bernie as this candidate that's not electable because, one, he doesn't have a ton of money. Two, they're blocking him. I strongly believe that this strategy is an old way of thinking because our culture has changed, and the media and the big corporate funded campaigns have not caught on to this. What are people doing nowadays? Where are they getting the majority of their information from? Facebook or some sort of social networking. Create a video like this one where you explain to people in your own words why you support Bernie Sanders. Post it on your Facebook page. Tag your friends, tag your family. Get people to watch it. If people see an embedded video with your face on it, they're going to click it because they know who you are. They see that video with anybody's face on it, they're probably not. Try to keep your videos short. I'm guilty of not doing that, but it's because I have more complicated things to say. But if you can, keep it short. Be yourself. Be fun. Blanket your social networking with pro-Bernie material. But like I said, you also need to provide content that's your original content that you created. If you're a musician, write a song. Ask people to hear it. Use the resources that you have. And I guarantee that will speak to people a lot more effectively than any commercial that any one of these campaigns can come up with. So anyway, we're getting close to 11 minutes. So that's all I had to say. Thank you. And good luck.